Are you kidding me? Kamala HQ. Time out, time out. So I was having a good day. I really was. And then I got on X and I saw this photo with President Trump, and it was by Kamala HQ, and it had this caption that read, "Why Trump 78 can't rally like he did before." And they chose this picture of Trump looking very, muted, looking a little tired, but this photo has a filter on it, and it's so washed out. And their caption was sad, sad. Kamala Harris, the woman who was essentially gaslighting the American public the past 3.5 years, saying that, oh, President Biden, no, he's old, but he's there. He's cognitively there. You guys are just misinterpreting some events that are being shown in Fox News. People, right-wing conspiracy theorists, they're making his cognitive impairment seem bad, but that's not true because I'm in the room with him. That's what Kamala HQ, that's what Kamala Harris has been saying the past 3.5 years. She's been covering up President Biden. And now she seems to be attacking Trump for essentially the same thing. So hypocritical, right? I don't know if we've Kamala HQ hypocritical. No, well, that doesn't surprise anyone actually. But I have problems with this. Okay, and I have problems for three primary different reasons. One, it's inaccurate. Two, it's insulting. And three, I think this is wildly insensitive to older people, people who are aging. So let's get into it. Why is it inaccurate? For one, I brought up the actual article, okay, and it does have this headline, which is why Trump 78 can't rally like he did before. But they don't really spend a lot of time on his age. Okay, I'll show you where they bring it up. They bring it up right in the beginning. They said, what a difference 8 years makes, especially at his age. Donald Trump is holding fewer rallies than he did during previous presidential runs, in part because he's older and enjoys staying in at Mar-a-Lago, Axios reports. And Axios, to their credit, did report this, and they have this nice little graph. It'll be all linked up, but that is true. But the reason I think this is grossly, tastelessly inaccurate is because they didn't bring up how they didn't bring up probably the most important part, which I think is the shooting. Look at this second paragraph. The rally tally was likely also impacted by the assassination attempt against him in Butler, Pennsylvania earlier this month. After he was shot in July, he spent about a month avoiding outdoor rallies. Who wouldn't? Okay? Who wouldn't? If that happened to me, you would never see me again. Okay, when he does them now, he appears behind bulletproof glass. Again, who wouldn't? To me, this is entirely normal behavior. And right above it, we see them say, according to people on Trump's team, besides his inclination to remain at his resort, voters already know who the former president is. So there's less need for him to introduce himself to live audiences. Exactly. Okay, that to me is another primary reason. People already know who he is. Okay, people don't need to learn about President Trump in the same way that they need to learn about Kamala Harris. Okay, Kamala doesn't have the same name recognition. She doesn't have the same brand. Okay, Trump does. MAGA does, right? They also bring up how rallies are costly and his campaign is trying to budget carefully. Exactly. Why? Because Kamala Harris is spending, what? I think it was last reported, they're spending $5 million every single day. That is so absurd. Also, Kamala Harris, she seems to be bragging about the amount of campaigns that she's running. Okay, so whenever I think about that, I immediately think about how there's been so many moments where Kamala Harris is appearing to just say the same exact thing at her rallies. Okay, in the same way that we see her give these scripted, rehearsed responses on interviews. Look at this video here. Okay, this is a verbatim shot on on the same day in two entirely different places saying the same exact thing. Okay. Also, there was a comment on the video yesterday calling Kamala Harris teleprompter Harris. And I thought that couldn't be more true because, again, in the video we talked about in the video from yesterday, we actually saw Kamala Harris live in Oprah saying what looked like she was reading a teleprompter. in front of an audience in Oprah, which is just wild. Okay, so look at this.
It really is good to be back in Wisconsin. It's so good to be back in Michigan. The path to the White House runs right through this state. The path to the White House runs right through this state. And I had a summer job at McDonald's. Tim has an incredible record as governor of the great state of Minnesota. He has an incredible record as governor of the great state of Minnesota. I took on perpetrators of all kinds. I know Donald Trump's type. We are not going back. And are we ready to fight for it? And when we fight, we win.
Wow. All of those shots verbatim. When we fight, we win. When we fight, we win. So, Kamala, I don't know if it's a brag for you to say that you host more rallies when most of your rallies look exactly like that. Okay. Also, one thing I am happy about with this post is the comments. Look at this. Look at this first comment. It was by Salty Goat and has 1,000 likes already. And it said, actually, you know what's really sad? When an account like this gets called out by CNN, expect to see this a lot. And again, we talked about this article already, but fact check, Harris campaign social media account has repeatedly deceived with misleading edits and captions. And this is no different. Okay, so why was this inaccurate? For one, they spent they're purely attacking his age. Also, this photo does not appear on the actual article at all. Okay, which I think is just really, really tasteless. And oh, look at this comment here. I'm just scrolling. Look at this. Colin Rugg. Answer: because he gets shot by lunatics whenever he goes outside. He's also had more. Michael Cassidy says he's had more assassination attempts on his campaign trail than you've done solo interviews with the media. Crazy. And also speaking of assassination attempts, this was an update that just happened right now. Okay, minutes ago from the Washington Post. An update on, look at this. Alleged Trump golf course gunman charged with assassination attempt. Okay, I'm not sure if you knew this, but Ryan Ruth, 58, initially faced 2 federal firearm charges. Okay, that's what he was being charged with in the beginning. He wasn't being charged with actually assassinate or attempting to assassinate. But now it is. This is good, right? And I love what was said right here by the Attorney General, Merrick Garland. He says, violence targeting public officials endangers everything our country stands for, and the Department of Justice will use every available tool to hold Ryan Ruth accountable for the attempted assassination of former President Trump charged in the indictment. Okay. Also, speaking of, so that's a great update. I'm really happy to see that. But back to Kamala kind of attacking President Trump for his age and also the lack of rallies that he has been having, which is just so absurd and considerate. I do want us to have a conversation about kind of age, right? Age and public officials, just because I think this is so wildly insensitive to people who've had the gift of getting older. Okay. So for one, yes, Trump is 78 now. Okay. Now, does that somehow disqualify him from running the country? Now, if you were to say yes, I'd say the person running the country right now is 4 years older than him. I believe Joe Biden is 82. And if Joe Biden is no longer there, or if he doesn't have the ability to run the country, then why aren't you stepping in, Kamala Harris? Why don't you do what you can right? You could enact what, the 25th Amendment, get him down there. You could become acting president, right? That might help you out in the polls. We don't know, but if you actually believe that someone's age has an impact on their ability to do the role, then I think that's what you should do. Okay, but again, I just don't know if it's a good enough reason to bring up President Trump's age when, from what I've seen, there's not a good amount of evidence to suggest that President Trump is actually being limited by his age, unlike what we've seen with President Biden. Also, I just think it's so nasty to bring up age and discuss it in a way that actually degrades someone, because Kamala Harris, your platform right now, your campaign, you bring this up a lot. You say that I offer a new generation of leadership. Okay. And you make it sound like you're significantly younger than him. And I will grant you, you are what, almost 2 decades younger than him. You have about what, 18 years. You're 18 years younger. But at the end of the day, you're not 40, you're not 50, you are 60, right? And I think in the same way that you were kind of attacking President Trump for his age here, the reason I don't think it's honorable is because people could do the same thing with you, right? There's already people who are criticizing your neck, they're criticizing your wrinkles, they're saying they're just saying really nasty things about you, so much to the point where you're beginning to cover yourself up with a scarf, right? People are making memes about you, saying, "Oh, maybe you have a neck mask." People are doing just really nasty things about it. And I don't want to spend a lot of time here. I just want to say that I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's fair to use someone's age to attack them when at the end of the day, it's a gift to get older. Not a lot of people get to experience that. Not a lot of people get to get to the age that they are. So many people don't get that privilege. So many people don't get that gift. So I don't I really think we should be having better conversations whenever we're talking about age and politics. And I had this video that I shared almost a year ago because I was really frustrated about this, even whenever President Biden was still in the race. Because look at this. The title here was Bill Maher tells Biden to drop out of 2024 race. Voters think he's too old. Okay. And this is a 58-second video, but I think it's so good. And I think we're having the same conversation today. So check this out. My favorite thing on the internet right now is how these late night hosts are slamming Joe Biden for being too old, so he should just drop out of the 2024 presidential race. But unlike these comments, I really don't think it's that simple. Personally, I think the majority of people in politics are too old, and to solve that problem, we need term limits and just generally younger people who are interested and passionate about creating the future that we're all going to be living in. But this whole argument about being too old just isn't good enough for me. Even this new article by The Hill just posted today shows this new poll that suggests that most Democrats believe that Biden is too old to effectively serve another term. But the same wasn't exactly said about Trump. Now, when you look into age and cognition, it's really interesting because you can take someone who's an 80-year-old and they'll still have an incredible cognition, while other people like Biden could be the same age but clearly struggling. I think this comment is a lot closer to the truth. So with that being said, would he still rather lean towards a younger presidential candidate or not? So I love having this conversation just because I think a lot of people have different ideas about age, and they just assume that because of someone's age, they're automatically disqualified to do the job. Now, for me, whenever I think about age, I often think about how the older we get, the more the universe inside of us just begins to expand. We almost have this wisdom that comes from just getting older because we're growing, we're learning more. There's a genius within us that begins to expand. And I believe that's one of the great gifts of getting older. So I just love that. So whenever I see someone who is, like President Trump's age or President Biden's age, like I don't see them in terms of just their age, I don't see them as being limited. I see them as having decades of life experience, decades of wisdom, and decades of ability. So I'd love for us to shift the conversation from from just age and more to ability. Okay. So that's kind of that's the conversation that I wanted to have today regarding President Trump's age, as well as kind of this attack that we saw from the Kamala Harris campaign. I I don't like that I don't like that people are attacking his age while the mainstream media was completely ignoring President Biden's cognitive impairment, right, due to his age. And again, like I said in my previous video here, people do age differently and cognitive decline is real. But for me, I haven't really seen that. I haven't really seen a lot of evidence to suggest that President Trump is actually struggling with that in the same way that President Biden did. So, and you could disagree with me. I like making videos like this, not because I'm trying to educate people, but because I like to offer a new perspective on the menu, a perspective that, you might not find other places, or a perspective that I just don't feel is being shared enough as I think it should be. But yeah, let me know what you think about this conversation in the comment section. I'm looking forward to hearing everyone's thoughts here. And yeah, tell me, do you think we should have term limits? Do you think people in politics are generally too old? Do you think that President Trump is declining cognitively? Do you think it's right that Kamala Harris is using this as an attack point, even though President Biden is still in office and he is the sitting president? Let me know. Let me know. I look forward to reading your those comments. Okay. Hope you all have a good day, and I will see you all next time. Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching and listening. I appreciate your time so much, and I really hope you enjoyed this episode. If you'd like to support what we're building here, please like and subscribe. It means a lot and it really helps us out. And if you want to see even more content from me, make sure to follow me on Instagram. I'm going to be sharing a lot more on there. Thank you so much. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time.